Welcome back to the Smugsy Show. I'm Smugsy, your host, identifying as the Barstool Cougar. Every Wednesday we meet here, talk about important things, important people. Today it's Cinco de Mayo, a day to commemorate and celebrate Mexican-American culture and to drink beer and tequila, and to also remember the great Battle of Puebla, 1862, when the small but mighty Mexican army beat back the big bad French Empire. It's a real Davy and Goliath story, Cinco de Mayo, except, of course, the following year, 1863, that French Empire came back for a do-over and crushed them, went on to take Mexico City. So the moral of Cinco de Mayo is that you can't win everything. You can't win all the time. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And there are winners and losers in the culture wars. This week's show, we're going to highlight some of those winners and losers. The top two losers in the culture war this week are the two guys from Nantucket Magazine, Bruce Purcellay, the publisher, and the editor and writer of the article, Robert Cucuzzo. They wrote a true story about Dave Portnoy and published it with a very charismatic photo shoot, and then apologized for it. This is featuring, Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports founder, handsome, lying on a pink raft, floating in a dazzling bathing suit with a floral shirt, sipping what looks like a pink Sancerre, shades, relaxed, dreaming big. Circling below in the shadows are sharks. It's an exciting cover. The story is an American story of grit, promise, complicated, multifaceted story. The cover reads, Barstool's Dave Portnoy keeping small businesses afloat. And of course that refers to Portnoy's Barstool Fund that raised during the pandemic something like $37 million to rescue mom and pop restaurants and hardware stores and ice cream stands all across the great United States. I mean, Portnoy's story is remarkable. He does remarkable things with people like Tom Brady and Deion Sanders, and apparently that offends or hurts, disappoints some of the readers in Nantucket. So after this story that enthralled so many people about this rising American phenom was published, the publisher and the editor, who also wrote the story, the reporter, issued this gushing, pathetic, emasculating apology in the face of, cue the culture warriors. There's a story about Dave Portnoy, cue the culture warriors who just, get a signal in their silo from their influencers who say that their feelings are hurt. So these weak people, you know who they are. They gang up to bully into silence people who are saying anything that hurts their tender ears. Despite writing a true story about an American phenom millions of people are enthralled with and letting readers draw their own conclusions about Portnoy's character, they caved to various members who vehemently objected. The apology after the story said this, to our readers, since releasing our May issue a week ago, we have heard from various members of our community who vehemently object to our current cover featuring Dave Portnoy. While the story was intended to highlight Mr. Portnoy's work in support of small businesses, a number of people in the community have taken issue with offensive remarks and actions he has made in the past. We never want to hurt, offend, or disappoint anyone, any of our readers, with the stories we publish. Accordingly, we formally apologize for any pain caused to those who have objected to this May cover. Our objective is to report on stories that we feel are relevant to our readers. In the case of Mr. Portnoy, a Nantucket homeowner who has been previously profiled extensively by other publications on the island and has collaborated with numerous Nantucket businesses, we felt his recent fundraising for small businesses was timely news. We now recognize and acknowledge our oversight and how this story would be received. Sincerely, Bruce Pursley, Robert Cucuzzo. Did Antifa invade Nantucket? Okay. Is that who was protesting against the Nantucket story featuring Dave Portnoy? That apology, what that proves is that Nantucket Magazine itself is completely irrelevant. They should have stuck with the story. They emasculated the magazine and themselves, if I'm still allowed to use that word. Robert Cucuzzo, the writer of the story, and then the pansy-ass apology, he was cucked and canceled. He's biggest loser, with publisher number 2. Okay, enough about them. A winner this week, Liz Cheney. She's a winner of the culture wars, and we stand with Liz for standing up to the cheaters and sore losers in her Republican Party. She's fighting for her life, as many of you know, as a member of the leadership. She's number 3, Congresswoman from Wyoming, had the audacity to tweet in response to Donald Trump. He issued a statement, via Pony Express because he's banned on Twitter and Facebook. The statement said, the fraudulent presidential election of 2020 will forever be known as the big lie. And so Liz Cheney tweeted, the 2020 presidential election was not stolen. Anyone who claims it was is spreading the big lie, turning their backs on the rule of law and poisoning our democratic system. And for this, Kevin McCarthy, the majority leader, and others in the GOP caucus are circling Cheney like prey, hoping to take her out and install the Trump puppet, Elise Stanifek from upstate New York, queen of annoying. Well, today's message from the Smugsy Show to you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. McCarthy, I want to be Speaker of the House. We see you working the room to have our Liz ousted, and we say enough enabling of the big orange blimp. We pledged to stand arm in arm with Liz Cheney in 2022 midterm elections. Barstool Cougars, conservatives, libertarians, we will deny you a majority. Sore losers are the worst kind. So, speaking of losers, some of you may be wondering why. We're going to transition now away from Liz Cheney to why I'm not giving a detailed review of episode 5 of The Case, the new real crime podcast by Kirk Minihane that I've been reviewing in previous weeks. And I'll tell you why. It's simple. I refuse to give any more oxygen to that bad guy, who fell asleep 3 times during the polygraph test because he was on meth. I've had it with him. You know who I mean? Not Karen, but starts with a K. I hate him. And listening to his whining, stupid voice telling lie after lie is torture. I stopped listening after he started crying, saying he could have been a contender and was a hero, despite the fact he was compelled to rape, assault, impregnate multiple teenage girls and drug addicts. We hear a lot of talk these days about misogyny. Well, I guess one redeeming feature of you-know-who, idiot, is the word misandry. That's opposite. It's the hatred of men. Well, I hate men like Kevin, so maybe I'm a misandrist. I don't know. Ideally, Kirk and Steve will knock off Kevin in the last episode, but at a minimum, I can only hope that we don't have to hear his miserable sewer of a voice ever again. The real crime was his birth. And justice might be his mother, buried alive for her original sin. Maybe that's the next season. We'll see. Other points of interest this week. The apparent faux paws of our First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, kowtowing to the militant left radical agenda and introducing apparently a cat this week to the White House. Our thoughts and prayers are with Major. FLOTUS will be introducing a cat into the White House, regrettably, and without our endorsement. We will be monitoring the situation and have grave concerns about sneaky feline paws all over the Lincoln bedroom with a spritz of ode to cat. But speaking of Dr. Jill Biden, our fearless First Lady, who manhandled that guy off the stage who was lunging at Joe Biden during the campaign, did you see the photo of the Bidens and the Carters? It was like, honey, I shrunk the 39th president. I mean, the Carters, they looked adorable, like dolls, really, like midget munchkins on The Wizard of Oz. But that could be you. That could be me any day now. So the message today of this Mugsy Show is make hay while the sun shines. Go out and take a photo of yourself before you shrink, before it's too late. And that's what's in part motivating me, Smugsy, to commit to this year's photo project. As many of you know, there has been an ongoing photo exhibit that I've been working on. See a few samples on the website, syndicatemedia.net, in Smugsy's studio in the gallery. For a larger selection of exclusive photos, or mostly exclusive, support the arts on OnlyFans at Smugsy Girl, and just understand that the photos, it's art and meant to empower as many fans of this show as possible. So far, my favorite is Define Yourself. That's it for this week's show. The Smugsy Show is brought to you by Smug Ciggies, sleek and elegant ciggies made with organic cannabis rolled in all-natural papers. Look for Smug Ciggies in the indigo and marigold packs. Subscribe to the Smugsy Show. Follow me on Twitter at SmugsyGirl. Instagram is coming soon. Until next week, this is Smugsy signing off. Take care.